In the past 5 years, there has been an 89% increase in the number of under-16s admitted to hospital with serious stab wounds. Growing up in certain areas of London sometimes makes crime unavoidable. For many children, lack of entertainment and money drives them to the streets where the majority of gun and knife crime takes place. Many schemes have been set up all over London in order to get children off the streets and into a fun and friendly environment. XLP is one of the organisations that are making a positive improvement in children's lives and creating a safe environment for them.
XLP is an urban youth charity based in South East and East London. We work with young people from all backgrounds, but mainly through areas that are kind of higher in levels of deprivation and maybe some of the poorer areas of London. And we really try and get alongside young people, give them a sense of hope, give them a sense of just that they can do something positive with their lives, they can do something positive with their futures, and try and help them make wise choices through education, through sport, through music, through arts. We use any different kind of medium to just get alongside young people to try and bring out the best in them.
Ian has been working for XLP for several years.
I started working at XLP about 2 years ago, and it's from kind of my experience of youth workers and people who had a good influence on me as a kid, I guess, that made a big difference for me. So I kind of wanted to give something back, wanted to help other people, wanted to help young people and try and just bring them up, and that's kind of why I ended up with XLP.
The majority of staff are volunteers, made up of people who grew up in these areas of London. But what motivates them to make a difference? Can they reduce the number of teenagers involved in guns and knife crime, or will the stabbings and shootings inevitably continue?
XLP are helping to keep people, like young people, off the streets. It gives them something to do rather than just be walking around, be a bit bored and getting into trouble, really.
XLP was set up in 1996 after a teenager was stabbed in a school playground. The headmaster asked Patrick Reagan to come in and work with the children and teachers. Whilst working at the school, he decided urgent action was needed to prevent further attacks. XLP was then founded, a charity that inspires teenagers all over London to find their potential. Patrick Reagan is the founder of XLP. He has travelled to over 30 countries working with some of the poorest communities.
Yeah, I think there isn't one issue. I think there's a combination of issues. You know, for some of the young guys that I work with, I know that some of them get excluded from school. When you're excluded from school, you've got more chance of being involved in gangs, and then you go home, your mum's working multiple jobs, you're living in a poor area, and if you're the bloke of the house, you think, I want to go and get some money. And then some bloke comes up to you and says, 1,500 quid, just take this drugs from me round the corner. And then suddenly this gang, it sort of becomes like your family, it becomes this alternative family, this sense of belonging, and then it becomes part of your identity. Then you end up doing some stupid things to get respect.
XLP now operates in 30 different schools in areas such as Southwark, Lewisham, Greenwich, Bexley, Tower Hamlets and Newham.
XLP does football coaching. It has the bus that comes out onto different estates each week. The bus is packed out with loads of different activities, PlayStations, computers, got a music studio on there. We've also got the recording van, which is a converted riot van that goes out and does recording tracks and beats with young people who are kind of on the verge of getting involved in gangs or in violence and who may be excluded from schools.
Originally a police riot van, XLP wrote into MTV's Pimp My Ride UK and had their van transformed into a new state-of-the-art mobile recording studio.
Organisations like XLP aren't going to do everything themselves. It's not a case of one answer being the right answer for everyone. I just think that young people need to know that there's positive choices out there, and then you need to feel like they're part of something, whether that be a family unit or whether that be a sports club or a youth charity or whatever that might be.
I think where you're seeing results is when you're seeing local people, often in the voluntary sector, that are totally under-resourced, living in local communities, coming up with some incredible innovation, tackling the drivers of family breakdown, poverty, educational failure, high unemployment, and coming up with things which are just incredible. You know, I refuse to accept that this is a lost generation. I think hope is a refusal to accept the situation as it is. Some person once said to me, a hopeful young person doesn't join a gang. And I think that we need to work hard at coming up with long-term solutions, not knee-jerk reactions to the latest headlines. And we need to take a bit of responsibility and get involved.